Hello everybody, welcome to another episode of Matt's Model Shop. This is episode 19 in the Refit build-up, and what I'm doing now is I'm doing a little more masking on the secondary hull right around where the neck joins the saucer. So what I did before on my previous one was I masked along here and then I kind of curved the tape as best I could here, and it came out kind of squiffy there. So what I've done now is I purchased some flexible tape, which I've done right here. You can see it goes along curves really nicely. I did that also right here. That stuff works really great. It's a Tamiya brand. I might have mentioned it in a previous episode, but I kind of wanted you to see it in action here. You can get it to conform around curves really nicely, and then you just use your regular masking tape around it to kind of block it off a little bit more. So by doing that on both sides, I'll be sure to get a nice crisp line there. So the only things left to paint on the secondary hull are this piece here, and then I'm going to touch up the torpedo vent because it got a little bit cream during the whole painting time, and then I'm going to do the phasers. They all have to be done in yellow, and then this thing. Oh, and I got to do these little vents. These are they're supposed to be a duck egg blue, but I'm going to do black because I think it looks better. I think it was black on the 1701, and on the 1701A it's just a lighter blue, and I'm like, nah, I'll do black again because I like it better. So neener. So once that's done, this will be ready for clear coat and decals. So feels like we're getting close. In the previous one, I actually did everything separately, and I put all the decals on, and then I put everything together. And the problem with that was I had this joint here which had a gigantic light leak. That was bad. So this time, what I'm going to do is attach the saucer first, and then put on all the decals. It might make it a little more tricky, but I don't think it'll be impossible. So I'm just going to give it a try. I figure this is a good time as any to give some of these thoughts of mine that have been rattling around in my head for procedures a try, and we'll see how it works. Oh, I got to do this little piece here too. A little nose right here in front of the deflector dish. By the way, I haven't done the deflector housing yet because I want to make sure to get the lighting for it all proper and make sure there's enough space in here, and I wanted everything done before I did that. So it's coming, don't worry. So anyway, I'm going to get on with some of this masking, and we'll get it all painted up, and next time you see it, I'll try to have the rest of this all painted, and we'll be ready for the next part, which will be the bridge. So hold tight. Welcome back, everybody. So I wanted to show you that even us experienced modelers have problems once in a while. I had a bit of problem with one of my jars of light blue paint from Tamiya. I mixed it really well, and it looked like it was mixed perfectly, but when I put it in the airbrush, it separated again very quickly. It was really bizarre, but it wound up running really bad, and then to add insult to injury, it clogged. So I actually had a whole bunch of runoff on the edges here and down in the front of the VC deck down here, as well as my airbrush actually leaked all over the saucer here. So I did get part of it painted okay, but the rest of it just was like, I'm not going to cooperate. So one of the things with this build series that I wanted to go over is that things never ever go as planned, or at least in my experience, they never ever go as planned perfectly. There's always something that gets in the way. So one of the things that we try to do is work through these things, push through them, so that we get to the other side and it still looks great. So I've had problems like this with every model I've ever done. There's always something. So basically with this one, I've already sanded down a lot of it. I've sanded down a little bit here, not quite as much as here, but I think what I'm going to actually do is take off as much of this as I can, and then just hit it with a little bit of primer and a little bit of pearl white again to and blend it in really good so that it doesn't look like anything ever happened. But fortunately, I can get through this without too much difficulty. So anyone who goes through this, just go, well, darn it, and try to move on from it. So next time you see this, this problem should be corrected, and I'll have moved on to hopefully painting it correctly. I had this all masked perfectly, and I mean, the bleed just went right under it. It was awful. So, needless to say, this jar of paint is going right into the trash, and this is my new jar of paint, which is the same stuff, but yeah, new. So we'll try again. So hopefully this will be done when I come back, so we will see. I'll be back in a few minutes for you. Hang tight. Okay, it's been a couple of days, and I went and sanded all the mistakes off, and I reprimed the saucer, so we're ready for the pearl white again. I did save my little ring back here because it turned out pretty decent, but everything up here had to be redone. So basically, the name of the game with all of this is if you mess up, it's not the end of the world. That's part of the whole thing. So you just say, okay, what can I do to fix it? And you fix it. So in this case, we've recovered very nicely, and we'll give it another shot. So I think when you see it with the pearl white again and painted, it'll have been worth all of this big mess. So and Sam approves. So yeah, we'll hit this, and we'll see where we get. So next time you see it, it'll have pearl white, and then I'll show that briefly, and then I'm going to go ahead and mask everything with the vinyl tape again, and get it ready to paint with the light blue. So we shall see how it goes. Be back in a moment. Okay, welcome back, everyone. There's my cursed airbrush right there, and here's where we're at now. So I was able to repair the damage, repaint, and get everything back to where it should be. So we've gotten the first part of the bridge painted now. Airbrushing isn't my favorite thing, but when it turns out good, it turns out good. I actually like that quite a bit. So next I'll probably do the gray around the PC deck here, and then we have to do this piece here in blue again. The bridge dome is kind of a it's almost like a pale yellow gold color right here, and then kind of a stainless steel, not stainless steel, more like an aluminum on top. But what I've always used for my bridge, my first one I used like a copper or a gold or something like that. I didn't really care for the way that turned out, so I used a different color the next time. What did I use? I'm trying to remember here. It was like a titanium gold or something. Yeah, titanium gold, this one right here. For the lower part of the dome, and then a titanium silver for the top dome. So those were the two that I used on my 537. I actually kind of like the way those turned out. I'll probably use them on this one too, even though they're not quite correct. Who cares? Remember, this is supposed to be the easy build, so yeah, we'll use those for those two colors. Blue for this piece here, and probably a light gray for this piece around here that goes all the way around. I also have to paint this part here in the blue, and it's supposed to fade out right here and right here, the little key. So it's supposed to be blue all around here, and then sort of fade out as it goes around the bends here. So that one will be fun to do, of course. But yeah, I was happy to see my airbrush accident didn't destroy the ship. So I will carry on. Next time you see this, we'll have more of the bridge painted. Woohoo! I'll be back. Okay, welcome back. I've been doing a whole bunch of painting here, as you can see. I've added the titanium gold part of the dome. It's actually not quite that gold in reality, but it's the closest thing I have, and I kind of like it. It's a little blingy. But anyway, I haven't done the titanium silver yet for the top. But I have done the blue top here and the key, as well as the gray around the BC deck and the blue around the window. So the only thing I have left is the titanium silver on top, and the bridge is going to be called done. And I'll start on doing the phasers and the RCS thrusters. So I also took my impulse crystal out and shot it in blue. I had previously light blocked it, so it's ready to install. And The top of the saucer is actually getting pretty close here for to being able to be glued to the bottom saucer. So at the bottom saucer, I need to do the RCS thrusters and the phasers. I've already done the blue around the lower sensor domes, so there's only a couple of odds and ends to do on that, and it's ready to roll too. So the saucer will be all set to glue together and attach to the secondary hull. So that's kind of exciting, because then I start, I'll probably do Aztec decals on the secondary hull and the saucer, and then I'll start doing the nacelles. That way we can, we'll have most of the ship done, and we'll just be working on the nacelle part. So this is actually, it's getting kind of exciting now. We're getting close to, it actually looking like the Enterprise, so that's pretty neat. When I come back, I'll have the rest of the bridge done, and we'll be working on getting the rest of it painted, so hold tight. Okay, and welcome back. And here we are with the completed saucer. So, actually, I haven't completed it quite. It's really, really close, though. The only last thing I got to do is figure out what color I want to do these escape pods in. On my last one, I did them kind of a darker gray, but on the studio model, they're very, very light gray. They almost don't look like they're painted with much at all. So I think what I'm going to do is mask them all off and just do white with just a dab of gray in it, just to get them kind of an off white. But the rest of it's all done. The bridge turned out really great, so I'm very happy with it. And all the phasers and the RCS thrusters are done. I also did all the phasers and RCS thrusters on the bottom saucer, so it's ready to roll too. And I did the phasers on the secondary hull, though I'm doing a little work on the secondary hull that I didn't like a couple of the errors that I had, so I'm fixing them. But yeah, and that's something you'll find you'll do too. When you find something you don't like, don't be afraid to go back and try to fix it, so long as you're sure you can get through it. That's the fun part, is getting through it. But I think this is a pretty good place to wrap this episode up. I haven't done one in a while, and I am going forward, and I'm going to try to get this ship done as soon as possible, because I'd like to move on to some other projects on the channel. Something probably a little less involved than the refit, but I kind of wanted to start with this one because it's the one everybody likes. So hopefully this whole build series has been of interest to you. I'll be back soon with more on painting up the various parts, and we'll attach the saucer and do some decals, and then we'll start the nacelles. So until then, take care, have fun, and I hope all of your projects are going as swimmingly as this one. So see you around.